All right, hello, welcome to A Few Good Mics. This is episode 10, double digits. Last week, it's the NFL draft, so we'll just dive right in. Not even introduce the partners here, Mike and Nate. All right, as usual, we got Mike Walter and Nate Wall.
That's right.
Y'all ready to talk draft?
Let's talk some draft.
All right, so I'll start. I think we have to start with our roast of the Chicago Bears. What do you guys think of that? Trading up one spot, giving up like 4 picks to take Mitch Trubisky.
Honestly, I don't have any issues with that. I have no issues with that. My issue lies in the fact that I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you just paid
Mike Glennon got paid $14 million.
Glennon $14 million, which isn't crazy good money, but that's starting quarterback money. So you just paid him that, and then you gave away all these picks and moved up at the draft one spot to get Trubisky. You single-handedly just created your own quarterback controversy, and now. Who is the last? Is there ever been a top 5 pick, top 10 pick that doesn't start as a quarterback?
Yeah, especially in the last. Yeah,
I think we did it. Nate and I actually did it, and it came out to, was it Phillip Rivers, Nate?
Yeah, I think it was Phillip Rivers was the last one that didn't start in his first year.
And that was like 06. But I'm saying, this is a second overall pick, and in today's football, that person doesn't sit. Look at the grief that the Rams got.
And even Phillip Rivers, he was sitting behind Drew Brees.
Right. Exactly.
That was when Breezy was still in.
So my point is, I have no problem moving up. If Mitch is your guy, that's your guy. Like, go get him. But don't move up and do all this when you already paid that money. What are you doing? You're creating problems for yourself, because no matter who starts, you start Trubisky, who lays a fat goose egg because half of that team is garbage. Then you know what? Everyone calls for Glennon. We just paid him all this money. What the hell is the coach doing? What's the GM doing? Like, why did we pay him if we're not going to play him? Vice versa. Glennon starts. He's not going to do well. Then you got Trubisky. Well, why did we draft this guy? Why did we waste all this money on this guy? And then even the worst part is if Glennon just blows it up, dominates, you still got Trubisky over here, wasted talent. I don't get it. It doesn't make any friggin' sense. It's a mind boggle to me, because you created your own problem. If you got a quarterback in the 3rd round, even late 2nd round, I get it. But when you're going to waste a 1st round pick, not waste, but it's just stupid. Then why'd you pay Mike Glennon? You paid big time money for a backup? You're paying for him to be backup? And nobody, you can say what you want, like, oh, well, they're going to sit Trubisky for 2 years, let him learn. Behind who? Mike Glennon? Good, yeah, that'll work. And then what are you going to do when you're 1 in 7? You're going to let him sit out the rest of the season? Stupid. Yeah, it's stupid.
The first pick that Glennon throws, they're going to be booing him off the field for Trubisky.
That's what I'm saying. And you can't win if it's Trubisky and he throws 2 picks and just having a rough game. People are going to be calling for Glennon, and there's going to be a whole bunch of pressure. And that's why it's a lot like, in my opinion, the Browns organization, not like just the move, because they'll draft these round 1 quarterbacks, and they got nothing going for them. They just get thrown to the wolves, and it never works out. Like, it's never successful. Like, I think there are Browns quarterbacks in the past that could have been good. Not just like, not Johnny Manziel per se, but like, he might have thrived in a different system, like maybe even Jacksonville, where he's got a little weapons, and what I'm saying is, it's just like, it's not. It's where quarterbacks go to die because they have no help, and this is just a situation you created that's stressful on your quarterback. It's stupid. It's a terrible move. I have no problem giving away 3 first-round picks if Trubisky's your guy and you believe in him. Go for it. But I had a huge problem doing it when you just spent all this money on Glennon. There's no point. You created your own problem.
And especially with all this stuff that's come out afterwards, is 1, they didn't even meet with him. 2, they invited Mike Glennon to the draft party. So you invited him to watch you trade up to draft his replacement when he hasn't even stepped in the building yet.
And
Right.
also,
What does that do for his morale and like him? Go, yo, we're drafting a quarterback 2nd overall. Don't worry, you still got the job. Like what? And now, I mean, they created their own problem. It's so stupid. I don't get it.
yeah, I think it's really one of those things. I mean, I'm kind of with Mike on this, but I really don't think they had to move the 2 because we all know John Lynch is a defense guy. It's just one of those things. I didn't see San Francisco getting a quarterback there, and I think even if they stayed at 3, they would have got Trubinsky. I mean, like Mike said, if Trubinsky's your guy, you take him. Personally, I think as far as players that have something to prove that, kind of the most underrated quarterbacks in this draft, I would say that's Trubinsky as far as potential goes. Not saying overall talent. We all know Sean Watson's probably the guy as far as talent that's, kind of all there. But it's just one of those things with Trubinsky. I mean, like Mike said, it's a shot in the foot to Mike Glennon. I mean, Mike Glennon's, 27, 28? I mean, he's still got quite a bit of NFL play left in him. And then you're going to go take a guy 2nd overall. I mean, you could have taken a guy in 3rd, 4th round. You could have taken a Brad Kaya. You could have taken that Kaiser kid from Notre Dame. I mean, have someone in the 3rd, 4th round that, okay, if Glennon doesn't work, okay, fine, you go to this kid. And then instead of drafting a quarterback so high, and now you're sitting at a thing where you're like, all right, if Glennon sucks, if Trubinsky sucks, you're a shitting brick. Like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I think the Bears offense is Jordan Howard's team. I mean, I think he's going to kind of have to run that offense, and I'm not going to make this comparison, but I think what you saw in Minnesota for all those years when they didn't have a good quarterback with AP running the show, that's what Jordan Howard's going to be like in Chicago. It's going to be a similar kind of atmosphere because what was his name? Kevin White, that wide receiver, he can't stay healthy to save his life. He's like Jabari Parker on the basketball court. Great player, great talent, but can't stay healthy. And I mean, and a thing is too, I mean, I also heard that with John Fox, they didn't even really inform Fox that they were going to take Trubinsky until, what was it, like before they freaking took Trubinsky? Like, that's your head coach. Like, that guy is been a successful coach in the NFL, Carolina and Denver, and now he was at the top of the line, and now he's in Chicago, and he's about ready to fall into Lake Michigan. It's just, to me, you have a coach that's a good coach that's very, very turns players that aren't that great and turns them into something, and now you just shot down the momentum of your number 1 guy that you just overpaid for 11 snaps or 11 throws in the last, 4 years, sitting under Jameis mostly. Chicago got it wrong, but they got it right at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to jump back in. I think the organization is going through a lot of change. Like, even if you go back to Lovey, now that they finally cut Cutler, and I mean, like, the GM is different from when they gave Cutler that contract, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
So, like, they're going through a lot of change, and, like, that's a good thing. But my issue is, then you do something so fucking stupid like this. The amount of money that they're going to have to pay Trubinsky and what they've already paid Glennon. I mean, that's a lot of money, and like your team needs other things. I'm all one to build around, but it's just, it doesn't make any sense. The pick is just stupid. Like, if that's your guy, that's fine, but why would you go after Mike Glennon too? And like, what about this scenario? So Mike Glennon kills it, right? I mean, he's like a top 10 quarterback. Like, put him at the low end, like 10. Okay. Like, then you just let Trubinsky ride for another year. Like, so Glennon has 3 good years. Now you've had Trubinsky on the bench for 3 years and probably going into his 4th year. Like, maybe you ride Trubinsky out Glennon out for like half that year. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it goes well for them, now they're paying Trubinsky to ride the pine all sorts of money. And he's not even starting. Like, if it goes, that's a good situation for them. It's going well, and you just wasted all these picks. Like, you're going to need those picks because you're in a huge rebuilding process, and you have new GMs, new coaches, relatively new to the Bears. just a new system, new everything. You finally gutted your quarterback that's been bad for a century. Like, just do something good for the organization, and they just totally shit an egg.
And they're totally setting him up for failure too.
Both
They
of
have
them.
no what they have
Everyone.
Jordan Howard.
Coach, John
And that's
Fox.
it. Like they're going to be, if let's say they go worse than what they did, like 5-11 last year, 4-12. Let's say they go 3-13. They're going to be cleaning house anyway. You basically just you drafted Trubisky for the next guy in.
Yeah, I think it's stupid. I think that's you created your own in-house problem, and it doesn't only lie with like a quarterback. I feel like almost every quarterback controversy, players have to take sides, like back certain players or whatever. Whether they say they'll be like, I back whoever plays quarterback, whatever. That's you still have you got a preference, and then even John Fox now, like so. Every game that goes by, every pick that's thrown, every problem that's there, he's going to have to be like, well, there's a lot of pressure on me in Chicago to win now because it's a win-now place. Even though the Bears are not really a win-now organization, I get that. But I'm just saying, like, to at least win, we got this new draft pick. Well, should we put him in there? And then you're going to ruin him. If you put him in too soon, you'll ruin him. Like the Browns do every time.
So I'll transition then into what the Browns did. And I would like to see them draft Watson at 12, but I really, really liked what they did in the first round. Just not jumping the gun, building around your next quarterback, whoever it is. And make sure you have everything else in place to make sure that the quarterback you end up deciding, oh, this is our guy. This is the future. Now he has all the tools to succeed. And the pressure's not all on him to create everything, Like they signed a bunch of guys for the offensive line, so now they're pretty solid there. They draft Njoku to be a weapon on the outside, a tight end.
Yeah, I didn't like the Peppers pick.
That's where you're wrong.
Me and Nate are higher on Peppers than you are, but still,
not a fan. I think he'll be good in special teams, but I don't think he's anything.
You think they picked a guy that high to freaking ride him on special teams? Are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me?
I didn't say
Peppers. I've seen the tape. I've watched him against quality opponents. The guy is the opposite of TJ Watt. He is in on every play. So I don't understand where you get that logic. Why are you such a hater on Jabril Peppers? I don't get it.
Why you got to hate on TJ Watt just because?
That's what I'm saying. Going to TJ Watt.
I'm just saying, you've been blabbing the last 5 podcasts how Watt runs away from plays every big game there is. Peppers does not do that. Peppers does not do that. In big games, Peppers was in on every play. Watt runs away from plays.
He's
runs away. I never said he runs away. I said occasionally.
You did say he runs away.
He disappears.
He's not in the play.
Disappears is not running away.
Basically the same thing.
I would never say running away.
Saying the same thing. We're just using different words. Can it?
Nate, you have to trade in your red and white for maize and blue now. You're officially a Michigan fan.
All right, go Charles Woodson.
I'm saying right now, Peppers is not going to be as good as everybody thinks.
He's not going to be a special teams player, I know that for a fact.
But I said I think he'll be good on special teams. He's really his best aspect, in my opinion, is returning. Is what it is. I didn't say they drafted him specifically to play that. Obviously not, but I'm sure he will. I said that's where he's going to be good. That's the only place in my mind he's going to be good.
Well, see, I don't see him as a linebacker. I think he's too small to play linebacker in the NFL. I see him as a safety because, safeties, they don't have to have the hands, which I don't think he has the hands that a corner would have. So I can see him as safety. But he's one of those dual guys. You can kind of throw him in an equation. If your freaking linebacker shitting a brick in Cleveland, which they probably will, because all they have is that Collins kid from New England.
I think a good comparison to Peppers would be that he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. He's like a Micah Hyde. in the fact that he can play multiple spots, but he's really not anything elite at any of them. That's why he's kind of floating around, and that's a guy that you don't pay unless he's elite and can be played at all of them. That's what he
agree. I don't agree with comparing him to Micah Hyde.
Full comparison is going to be him.
That is not an even close comparison. The only comparison you have there is they both played in the Big
When you have
Ten.
a player that doesn't even know what position to play, and he's like doing like linebacker and a little bit of safety, possibly corner. It's because he's not good. He's not great at any of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll admit the best.
He can play everywhere, but he's not good, like extremely good at any of them.
It's like one of those things. When I was in kindergarten, I rolled with my left hand, I rolled with my right hand, and then my teacher said, "You got to pick a hand." It's just like Peppers. They need to figure out where he's good, where he sucks, and they need to plug him in every damn time where he's good. And I don't think they really will have a problem in Cleveland because, I mean, let's be honest, Cleveland has a lack of talent anyway. And I think, the guy's from Ohio. He's going to bring a lot of heat back to the Browns, and we'll see in a few years how Cleveland pans out from that pick. So,
where did you say he's from?
Ohio.
I believe you're wrong.
I believe I'm right.
All right. Now we got to look.
Now we got to do some stat checking.
Yep.
Check it.
Got to check it. Got to check the tape.
That's just like Micah Hyde, dude. Where do you play Micah Hyde? You don't know because he's not like he wasn't better than Clinton Dix, and he wasn't better than Sham Shields, and he couldn't play anything else. So where do you put him? You just kind of float him. That's what you do. That's what Peppers will be, and he'll be good at returning. That's going to be his career.
I don't agree.
He was not born in Ohio, and I'm going to murder you on this one.
He is not born in Ohio.
Born in New Jersey, but let me look it up.
East Orange, New Jersey.
Thank you.
I swear I saw some shit he was from Ohio. I don't know. Regardless, New Jersey's basically on top of Ohio, so
Basically not, but all right.
regardless, besides getting his correct state wrong, I was pretty much right on all cylinders. So. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. But actually, just one last point on the Browns. We can all agree that drafting Myles Garrett over Trubisky #1 was the
Power move.
right move. Great.
Regardless what Warren Sapp says, Warren Sapp, great, you got your Hall of Fame, but what does Warren Sapp have to say? Like, you're washed up, dude.
All right, so I'll ask
the right word if you're retired.
Yeah,
You could still play if you wanted to, just like Brett Favre could.
Brett Favre cannot play at a competitive level right now.
Have you seen him lately? He still throws freaking rocket balls.
Favre said it himself. He could play if he didn't have to take any hits. So
right.
That's like
All right, you just give him a dominant offensive line and he could play.
If the NFL ever switched to flag football, Brett Favre will be my pick, right? That's the only chance. All right, so now moving on. I'll ask you guys a question. What was more surprising to you in the first round? That 3 teams traded up in the top 12 to get one of these quarterbacks, or that 3 wide receivers went in the top 10?
I'm going to say the quarterbacks because compared to other drafts, I mean, this was a good draft for quarterbacks. It wasn't a great draft. But, I think if you're looking at quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, obviously, he's a start now kind of guy. He's proven himself in college. He's the only one I see out of those guys that went in the top 3 that I could see, actually carrying a franchise. And Houston has been lacking in the department of quarterback. Osweiler's a joke. You can't win. You're not going to win 10 games with Tommy Savage. I think they got a need. There was some rumors about Romo way back when, and they hit their need the way they needed to. So, I think the quarterback thing with not a real deep quarterback class, I think that was a shocker to me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the wide receivers just because, we know that the Titans needed a #1 guy, but they took Corey Davis, who I thought Mike Williams was the better receiver.
I agree.
And they took him at 5. You could kind of predict that the Chargers would take Williams at 7 just because he was the #1 receiver. And Keenan Allen's gotten hurt each of the last 2 years, and then who do they have after that? they don't have anybody. So you got to help Phillip Rivers while you got him. And then I think the Bengals just totally reached on Ross. Like there's the receiver class is deep enough where you could have taken one of these top defensive guys and then just get someone in the second, third round. And Ross, he's got an injury history, had surgery on both his knees. He had hamstring injuries at the combine, and I don't know. I think they were too desperate to find a number 2 after losing Sanu and Marvin Jones last year.
Yeah, and I think too with Cincinnati, I mean, I thought both their first 2 picks were risky. I mean, even Mixon, I think, is going to be a liability to anyone, the fan base, whatever you have it. Just for his off the field antics. Not kid's a hell of a player, don't get me wrong, but there's going to be a lot of people all around Cincinnati that are going to be like, we don't support this guy just because he did what he did in college and whatnot. So.
And you could tell just because when they announced the pick, the whole place booed him.
Yeah, exactly. I want to take him second round because I thought he was going to be more of a third round guy. I mean, I could see there's going to be a team. If there's any team I could see taking a risk on, it's Cincinnati because, let's be honest, they have a fair share of questionable characters on their team already.
They're sort of
Pac-Man. You got Perfect. I mean, you got those guys right there. I mean, Pac-Man, he's still on the roster, and I think he told a cop to kill himself while he was like beating the shit out of a cop. Like, that's kind of shit they put up with in Cincinnati. So, not real surprised that Mixon ended up there.
Mike, we need an answer from you.
I think the quarterback surprised me, just in the sense of Patrick Mahomes. I guess I didn't really see that coming, and I didn't do a ton of draft research. But like every mock draft I've seen, I mean, I don't even know if I seen him in it. I mean, if I did, he was late. Like for him to go, what was it, 10?
Yeah, he went 10 to KC.
Like, and before Deshaun Watson was kind of crazy. I just came out of nowhere, but you'll have that. I mean, I think years ago, I believe it was Ryan Tannehill that like was a nobody, and then all of a sudden, come like draft week, shoots up boards and goes like first round. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was kind of shocking to me.
The more I thought about the Mahomes pick, the more it sort of makes sense that it was Kansas City that took him. Just because all the reports, like all the scouts or scouting reports or whatever, basically said he's a gunslinger, right? Coming from that Texas Tech offense. And, geez, Andy Reid, how long did he coach Brett Favre in Green Bay? And Andy Reid said it himself after the draft. He's like, we see a little Brett Favre in him. So if we could sort of take advantage of that arm talent sitting behind Alex Smith.
I think
what better quarterback are you going to learn to rein it in from than Alex Smith, who doesn't throw past 10 yards?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They need somebody that's going to move the ball. I mean, I think Andy Reid is a great coach, and I think like the fact that they do so well is a lot of him and his play calling and everything else. I just like personnel changes, but I think it's hard, very, very hard for a team like that to win. I mean, I can't imagine a Super Bowl. Can you imagine a Super Bowl team that doesn't have a receiver that gets more than a touchdown a year?
Yeah.
Like that's not the NFL today anymore. It's not. It's totally changed.
And I just think, Mahomes, as much of a shock that it was that they traded up that far and that he went in the top 10, you could really make sense that it was like the perfect sort of situation for him. Just so he's sitting for a few years, the project that he was.
When you all know that Mooney is a Texas Tech offense hater. I believe we shared some text messages over the week or Twitter posts, whatever, what have you.
Name one quarterback from that offense.
I'm not talking quarterback. Offense is a general term.
Graham Harrell.
Graham Harrell was not an elite. Yeah, you got that. He was garbage in the Packers. We dumped him. But, I
We were
mean,
comparing quarterbacks
you were talking offense. You said
in the
offense.
context of quarterbacks.
Yes, but you're talking offense. That's what you were talking about. You were not talking about quarterbacks. Offense and quarterbacks are two different things. You're talking quarterbacks. You're talking Patrick Mahomes. You're talking Graham Harrell. We're talking about offense. We're talking Michael Crabtree. We're talking good players that actually have had decent NFL careers. So you could take that and shove it.
We were talking and comparing Trubisky and Mahomes.
So wait, are we talking Texas Tech players or quarterbacks?
I was talking quarterbacks.
We're talking offense.
Nate switched the conversation.
Because I do believe
Nate.
there's a receiver on the New England Patriots that was from Texas Tech. Goes by the name of Danny Amendola.
Yeah, I was gonna say Amendola. Yeah, another elite.
I was talking quarterbacks.
You were talking offense.
The conversation.
No, you said Texas Tech offense. Offense.
When we were talking quarterbacks.
It's not. We're not talking quarterbacks. Offense is part. Quarterbacks are part of an offense, but you were talking general with offense. Yes, your poll was directed towards quarterbacks, but you started talking about offense when we had the conversation, not quarterbacks.
Jared Abbrederis is a Detroit Lion.
Sure is.
All right.
All right. So moving on. Anything else you got from the first round? Anything that you liked or didn't like?
I like two Badgers going in the first round, even though it didn't come till the end. I was a little surprised with what's his name, Ramczyk, the offensive lineman from play at Stevens Point, but he's with the Badgers. I was a little surprised by that move, taking him that high. I mean, I guess with the thing with that Evans guy signing with Green Bay, and he's a little older. But I mean, I was a little surprised he was getting taken that high. But I think any Wisconsin player on our offensive line, will be dominant in just about any offense. So.
All right. So now we'll switch it up to the draft overall. And who do you guys think had the best draft? Nate, we'll start with you.
I think, honestly, I want to say Patriots, even though they took forever to pick. Bill Belichick's pulling guys that, he's seeing the potential in these guys. I think they had a really great draft. I also think I'm also thinking that what the hell else? Let's go to Mike while I think about it.
Teams, in my opinion, that had the best draft be the Green Bay Packers. That's it. That's what take.
All right, I'll go with the Browns, man. They got three talented
shit picks.
They had three talented players, and I had three talented players in the first round, and I really like their pick of DeShone Kizer in the second.
Hey.
If they don't rush him along, I think he'll be a very, very solid quarterback. And what they built around him, and they have were able to trade back and gain more picks. Love what the Browns did.
Oh, who else had a good draft was the Niners.
Yeah, John Lynch. I mean, for a first-time GM, I thought he was going to drop a nut on that one, but dude, they really did have a productive draft. I think 49ers got a heck of a lot better. They got some potential for the future. So, I mean, I think John Lynch for a first-time GM and first-time even front office experience, he did good.
Yeah, he aced it, especially that first round, robbing the Bears and still getting the guy that you would have taken at 2. And
anyway,
trading back in to get Reuben Foster, who fell that far. Just to get two really good guys. So, all right, now let's go to the Packers draft. Of course, us being Packer fans, we spent a lot of time looking into them. What did you guys think of? Or Mike, you said they had the best draft. So let's. Why do you like it so much?
Well, I like it in the sense that finally we finally addressed the cornerback need, and we didn't go well in the second round, which I love the pick because the people behind us weren't going to take a cornerback, in my opinion. So and if you move back and can still get the guy you're looking for, that's so much less money you have to spend because you're talking first round money versus second round money. And you just gain picks for no reason. Like four spots back, you still get your same guy. That was huge. And Kevin King, I think, is going to be great. I love how we finally have adjusted to the modern day cornerback that's can press, is like 6'2", and in your face kind of guy, like a press, tall, lanky guy. There's some people that say like he won't be able to cover like a smaller, shifty guy, but
that's what you got Quentin Rollins for.
Well, and I love it. I love the pick. I think it's going to be great. We finally got somebody we can build around. Shields is gone, and we got to get somebody in there that can cover because Demarius Randall wasn't getting the job done. I like Quentin Rollins. I didn't like his injury. Obviously, I feel like that set him back a little bit. But hopefully, like we get everybody healthy. We got Gunter too, after a year of experience. I mean, just at the end, battling like Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, and Dez Bryant was huge for him. I mean, even if he gets burned a lot, like
just the experience.
He's gonna learn.
Yeah, like that's huge. It only gets easier from there.
Yeah. What I love about it, at the top of the draft, they hit all their needs right away. First 4 picks.
Well, right, but
boom, 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 and they got speed, which is what they needed more than anything. Like Kevin King, 6'3", ran a 4.4. The safety they drafted ran a 4.4. Vince Beagle is faster than T.J. Watt, and he's bigger than T.J. Watt. And being able to get him from trading back, and even the defensive tackle ran a 4.8. So
for DT.
What I didn't like though is, I mean, what are they going to do with Josh Jones? Is he going to be a safety? I don't get it. Rover or converting him?
I always thought Josh Jones was always going to be a safety. I don't know what I've seen.
He's not playing over Clinton Dix and over Morgan Burnett.
Well, I think he's going to play sort of like a Rover style, sort of what they did with
Micah
Hyde, or even with Woodson at the end of his career. Just sort of, you can play him on any down because you're playing a lot of nickel anyway. And then being able to draft the 2 defensive guys, it moves your corners down a peg, which sort of puts them in a more familiar and a better situation because there's less pressure on them, and it really just helps everybody out.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I don't like about that is, again, it's like I'm on repeat over here. It's like you're kind of putting them in a situation where you're a jack of all trades, master of none. You can't like fully develop at a position if you don't play one position. If you play multiple, I feel like you're slowly working at other things and you just can't hone in. Richard Sherman is a good corner because he only plays corner. And I mean, obviously you have your rovers, but like you're never going to be the best at a position if you're constantly moving around, in my opinion. Micah Hyde, he wasn't great at anything. That's why we threw him everywhere. Like, I don't like these project picks or people that you're going to rover around. I don't like it at all. Doesn't work. But I do like the rest of the draft. I like getting the D tackle, and then Vince Beagle was huge. Obviously, we needed some linebackers that are faster than running like a 5 even.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
like,
even
running
backs they drafted too.
Right. And so the other thing is they got the Malachi Dupree. I think is going to be a huge.
Loved that pick. Loved that pick.
I think 7th round.
And the fact that they drafted 3 running backs is great because it's almost like a shot in the dark. But with 3, you can kind of get one that's probably decent. That's like David Johnson. What did he go, like 3rd, 4th round, or like?
Yeah, out of Northern Iowa.
Unheard of guy. Absolute stud. Like, you don't have to draft running backs 1, 2, 3. First round overall, whatever. Like, you can get a decent running back later and pay him next to nothing and be so much better off, like they did with David Johnson. Was, in my opinion, better than Todd Gurley and the best back in the league probably last year.
Yeah, and then the guys that they had to cut to make room for them, Don Jackson and Christian Michael, those are 2 guys that they're going to be on the market. there's a
gonna
reason.
find John.
There's a reason why Kristen Michael hasn't been able to find a consistent spot. Maybe he's just not that good.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he's been
And with
about for a long time, and that's just
and McCarthy said that Tom Montgomery is going to be their number one anyway. So being able to bring three guys into camp, sort of, we're going to see these guys out. And you drafted them in a spot where if you cut them, it's not that big of a loss.
One,
Right.
two. Now you have. I think one of our issues we've had in the past is we've always had our like premier threats, your Randall Cobbs, your guys like that we really, if we can avoid it, we would rather not have them at kick return or punt return. You can throw one of those guys in at punt return or kick. I think I saw that kid from Utah State or UTEP. I can't remember which one. I think either of those guys got the wheels to be a good punt or kick returner. So, I mean, that's the one thing we've been kind of lacking over the last few years. I mean, we have Janis, but I mean, Janis is not the fastest guy out there. But I think one of these guys, at punt return or kick return or both. I mean, you might get a guy that like Dante Hall back in the day, just running back kicks, running back punts, just a superstar. I mean, you never know deep in the. I mean, Dante Hall, I think, was a low ball pick. I don't even know if he was drafted. I mean, you never know what you're going to find with that deep in the draft.
Yeah, I'll go back to that Malachi Dupree pick. I wasn't expecting that name to come at like 7 because usually they'll draft some random offensive lineman or some defensive end that won't be on the team at the end of the year. But, geez, now that Rodgers' weapons are just stacked, I think. And then with Dupree, that sort of confirms what they were going to do anyway, was sort of just pushing Jeff Janis out the door. So, but geez, even with crap quarterbacks at LSU, you could still see Dupree's talent and getting him in the 7th round.
D'Angelo Yancey's good too. I mean, I hopefully, I've heard from what I read, he's got not the best of hands, but hopefully he can do something too.
But he's another one of those guys who's never really played under a good quarterback, kind of like Dupree. I mean, Purdue has always been mediocre or middle of the road in the Big Ten. So, I mean
outside of Drew Brees, no.
All right.
Dupree, well, Drew Brees played like 15 years ago. So,
yeah, so that's.
You're going to bring up Kyle Orton next?
No, I'm going to bring up David Carr.
That was my next bring up, actually.
So we're all excited for the Packers next year, right? We're going to go crazy.
Absolutely. Go Bucks.
16-0.
All right, so you guys got any last thoughts on the NFL draft? Anything else you got for us?
The draft is always fun, and like a year from now, when you can tell who's actually been able to play and do work. So it's cool to see what, like, man, you always can go back in the draft and be like, wow, we took Dayton Jones when we could have got like, the next best thing. I can't even name somebody offhand, but like Anthony Barr, say, and you're like, wow. How did we mess that up? It's just always cool to go back and take a look. Like David Johnson, you draft some joker and you could have had David Johnson. Like, what?
And then we could go back the other way and saying, oh, we sort of trashed the Trubisky pick, but what if he ends up being really good? So it could go.
And that's fine. I just think
you
create your own problem. And like I said the whole time, go ahead, give him 4 first-round picks. If you believe that's your guy and going to be the next best thing, do what you need to do to get him. But why are you signing another guy and paying him starting money and creating your own problem? But yeah, Trubinsky works out. He works out. I mean, I guess good pick, but it's always going to be stupid to me as to why they picked up Mike Glennon. Maybe they didn't do enough research on Trubinsky at the time, but I mean, we're still talking off-season. It wasn't like they signed Mike Glennon midway through last year.
Right. Just a minute there.
All right, so there you go. That is our NFL draft recap. let's go on to Nate. You got 2 minutes for us. I hear you wanted to trash somebody. So
Yeah.
why don't you go get started?
Yeah, so UFC and Reebok, really not my department. I don't really watch a whole lot of UFC, but I watch Paige Van Zandt. There was a big issue yesterday with Reebok. A lot of other UFC fighters were like, well, she's trashy. She's acting like a slut. She was bringing out the best damn thing Reebok's ever freaking had. And from a girl's standpoint. I mean, it's just one of those things. Reebok brands for boxing or UFC, whatever, are nothing. They're not tap out. They're not anything even close to that. The fact that Reebok had such a problem and made her take down her Instagram post over what she did, which I watched the video about 5 times, and I don't think it was that racy. I don't really think that there was a reason to make her take it down. I think she was promoting the brand more than demoting the brand. I don't appreciate the way Reebok, kind of just went out and said, well, this is not what we stand for. And then you got all these UFC fighters, these women fighters that they're like, well, yeah, she's doing this, she's doing this. She's a pretty good boxer. She's 7-3. I mean, she's got less losses than Ronda Rousey, and we all thought Ronda Rousey was, God's gift of UFC fighting.
Because she was.
A few years ago.
Yeah,
there wouldn't even be a women's division without Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is it even relevant anymore? I personally, I loved watching Ronda Rousey. Even when she lost, she was just an icon for that sport.
Yeah.
Now that she's not really doing it at all anymore, I could care less. I don't care about Holly Holm. I don't care about the rest of them.
I'm just saying she was an icon. Key word is was.
I think she still is an icon. Maybe not for the sport, but you can't say
she's not gonna be in UFC anymore. She's probably gonna go to WWE because that's where they all go.
If Ronda Rousey decided to come back to UFC, it would triple their ratings on their next pay-per-view.
Exactly.
Well, that's great, but I don't think she will. I think she's still the way she loses was what made me lose respect for her. It's just like she said, like, I mean, I understand there's difference between passion and there's difference between stupidity. She's acting every time she lost a fight, she would like go into like suicide mode. I understand there's passion. That's your life. You do you. But at the same time, to just get like that, I just don't think it's ever going to make you back to where you were. But I mean, going back to, bashing Reebok, I don't think, what she did to the brand was at all rude or at all degrading or all slutty, however you want to call it. So shame on Reebok. I will never, ever buy a pair of shoes from Reebok. I will probably burn my shorts I have from Reebok, and that's it. So that's my rant.
All right, Mike, you're up next. 2 minutes.
I'm going to take like 2 minutes and point out the fact that Jabril Peppers is not from Ohio.
Yeah, Nate, you got that wrong.
All right.
Point for me. Another thing is Kentucky Derby is coming up this week. I will be in attendance, and I'm really excited. So that's my take.
And we will be posting live Instagram and Facebook videos from the Derby. So, if you're at the Derby or if you're in Louisville, give us a shout out. We'd love to hang out with some fans. So
yeah. And we'll be fairly intoxicated.
Are there any fans in Louisville, Kentucky?
Are there any fans anywhere? If you're a fan out there,
give us a horn on Twitter, Instagram. Now on Instagram.
Have one.
Tweet at us. Let us know where you are, especially in Louisville. Be on the lookout for these bums at the Derby.
At the Derb. Probably going to jockey my own horse this year. We'll see how it goes. I've been training. I've been watching Seabiscuit for over 2 weeks. Every day, grinding through it twice just so I know how to ride properly.
Seattle Sleuth's going to give you a run for his money.
Now that's commitment right there. That is
Mike,
cool.
have you lost weight? Are you a 105-pound jockey now?
I'm gonna be a bigger jockey. I'm gonna be about a 205 jockey. I figure, the more momentum we get going, the faster we'll be.
Not how horse racing works, but okay. It's
I'm
just
gonna-
like NASCAR. NASCAR, every guy is 150 pounds or less.
Don't
See,
matter.
Jimmy
dude.
Spencer is 240 pounds. You know what Jimmy Spencer never did? He never
What?
won a race.
What Jimmy Spencer never done.
Yeah, well, by that logic, Danica Patrick would win all the time.
Boom.
She's like 90 pounds. What are you talking about?
Well, Matt Kenseth's like 125 pounds. That's Mike's boy. That's his related brother.
It is. Cousin's cousin, Matt Kenseth. Real things. I should tweet at him, see if I can get him on the show.
See if he's a Derby dude.
Hey, Matt, you want to come do the show?
We'll have a NASCAR segment just for him.
There you go. Boom. NASCAR 101, how to drive. Heard
How
it
to
here.
go 200 miles an hour and not crash.
Yeah, teach me how to do donuts in grass.
After that, he's going to teach us how to Dougie.
And then
That's
he's going to
pretty
call Carl Edwards and see how we can do backflips off cars after you win.
No, that's cool.
Mooney,
Well,
what's
what you got?
your 2 minutes of fame, dude, so I can burn you to the ground once you're done talking about it.
Okay, I'll go with Tyronn Lue. He made some comments about how coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers is the toughest job in basketball, just because of media scrutiny, blah blah blah. Like, everything you say is automatically blown up and trending and viral. I'm gonna say it may be the toughest job in the NBA, but not because of that. It's because if you say one bad thing, LeBron will get you fired. If you don't constantly bow down to LeBron, you'll get fired. Just look at David Blatt.
Look
You
at
gotta
Mike Brown.
You got to bend over backwards for LeBron. And LeBron thinks he's obviously really good. We know that. But it's just accountability. He puts off stuff, and then that's all on you. You gotta watch your back. So that's my take on that. Nate, you might take that down, why don't you? Take it down.
I'll be honest. I don't even know what you said. So.
All right, I'll take it down.
I'll take it down. LeBron gets anyone you said fired. Is that what you said? You could get Tyronn Lue fired? Sure.
You got to bend over backwards.
Yeah, I mean, but realistically,
And that's what makes it the toughest job.
what does an NBA coach do anyways? And what does a seasoned NBA coach do? I mean, outside like Pop, but like you're telling me that any
What about
basketball
Spoelstra?
coach that's at the collegiate level or higher couldn't go in and coach Cleveland to the same record that they're at, if not a little better, a touch worse. But when you have LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson, what do they got? Everyone that they have there, it's like, what are you coaching? And yeah, LeBron James, sure, there's a lot of pressure there. But you know what? He essentially built that organization back to what it was. He doesn't go back to Cleveland. They're nothing.
True.
So why wouldn't it be like kind of his show? It's his basically. I mean, the fans and that place is sold out, and they've won titles now because of LeBron James. So if you're going to get in the way of that, or upset that, or try to make that be gone, or whatever, not be gone, obviously, but like, why would you even like? What's the point? Like, he's gonna ride. He's gonna be the guy. He's. It's hard to even compare it to another sport because I don't think anyone has as much influence as LeBron does. And like, you can't say Tom Brady, but football's not like a one-man sport, and not that basketball is, but it's much more so than football.
There's
I mean,
Ty Lue, just quit complaining. You're riding the gravy train. All right.
yeah.
Ty Lue, on a side note, whenever I used to play NBA Live 2001, Ty Lue was like the worst player on the Lakers. So I don't know how he goes from being an absolute garbage NBA player to coaching one of the best teams in the NBA. But good for you, Ty Lue.
Hashtag good take.
There you go. And with that, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of A Few Good Mics. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, as always, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Links are in the description. And if there's anything you want us to discuss or anything about the show, tweet at us, let us know. and watch out for next week's podcast.